Hi, this is Adam with Small Town Machine Shop. In today's little project, we're working on this vintage craftsman drill. Picked up at the scrapyard a while back. I'm going to set it up as it's just going to have a countersink in it. So I bring stuff up to it. I'm going to put a foot switch down there eventually, so it'll be foot operated for the power. And we'll get some use out of her. First thing we'll need to do, dress the motor here. I don't know about you, but it might be hard to keep a belt on that. So yeah, the rubber mounts are completely shot, plus the bearings shot in it. And I'm not the biggest fan of the wiring job that has been done to it. So yeah, first things first, let's pull this motor off. Okay, just removing the motor here. Pretty basic. Now around my parts, these vintage drill presses are kind of far and few in between. So if I was going to like resell this, what I would do, I'm going to stay out of the way of the camera and do it at the same time, is I would paint it like the most obnoxious red color. It's just bright cherry red or something like that, or bright blue. Put a big glossy coat on it. Because these vintage drill presses, people like to buy them, put them in their shop with their classic car and other stuff, and this is like a decoration almost. Because I've restored probably 8 or 9 of these. This exact style of craftsman drill press. And around here, you give them the old Krylon touch and give them the old spit shine. And this is a $250 or $300 drill press. Because there's this, out west here, there's just less of this stuff around. So, this going. Get it loose. I'm going to set it on the table. I have another motor sitting over there that I believe works. I'll test it, obviously, before I put it on. And there we go. Let me set this out of the way for a second. Probably check these real quick. Find where I put my wrenches. One there. The back. A lot of times when you go to remove these, like push them back, they're pressed into these two pegs. The plate and pegs are two separate pieces. And it's not uncommon for one of these to pop out. And all you have to do is put some Loctite on it. And it'll be fine. Actually, this one seems like, yeah, nice and easy to move. Okay, let's go grab the other motor. And we'll go from there, or I'm going to eliminate all this. I think they were using this as a reversing switch, but it feels the drill only worked with it up. So, yeah, let me for now, I'll probably get rid of all this. Let me remove all this and we'll get the other motor over here. Okay, I'm doing a voiceover for this part because my super cheap flea market recording equipment is really letting me down. So, got the motor there, and there's the Zamac pulley. You got to be very careful with those pulleys. It's very easy to bend them, very easy to break chunks out of them. So here I go, turny, taking the set screw loose. This motor the pulley had a bushing in it, and so it was only actually in that pulley about halfway, but it was pretty stuck. So here I'm going to give it just a slight tap. Look how little I'm tapping that. That's all you want to do. This thing is going to move one way or the other. Again, slight tappies. Tappy tap. And this isn't looking promising. So I'm going to grab a small, very small pry bar. And the specific reason I grab a small pry bar is so I don't put excessive pressure on the pulley. Again, the small pulley, the smallest diameter one there, doesn't have a lot of meat to it. So as you see, I'm just gently prying on it. And it looks like I'm prying harder because that old motor mount is flexing. But just seeing if it's going to move at all. I usually don't bother with penetrating fluid on stuff like this. I'm going to go straight to some heat. So now we're looking at it and we are pondering. I really don't like to put pullers on Zamac pulleys if I can get away from it, because again, they're so easy to damage. And you'll often find machines that have very warped or broken pulleys in the desperate attempts of people to try to remove them. So yeah, here I am deciding stuff, and we'll go on to the next phase. Okay, and I'll do a voiceover for this part again. And now we're going to introduce some heat to it. And yeah, this is my preferred method for removing these pulleys, is heat it and see what happens. So I'm heating deep into the inside there. Of course, be careful when you're heating it. I'm not reusing this motor, so we're not worried at all about any damage that might happen to the front bearing or anything, or the rubber isolator. So we're just heating it here, giving a little turn, throwing some more heat at it. And now it's obviously become too hot for me to touch with my hand, so I'm going to grab a wrench there. Now we're heating the bottom. It's nice and even. This is just a propane torch. A MAP gas torch would also work. And we're heating it, and that rubber mount says, hey, I'm going to catch fire, so now I'm on fire. But hey, look, it's self-heating now. So keep heating, keep turning. Nice and even as you can. Here we go, turny. And it's really on fire down there now. And now, I'm going to put this off to the side, and be careful, the pulley is hot. Take a little pry bar, give it a little pry, and whoa, there we go. Slid pretty much right off. You could see some boiling of oil and stuff coming out between the shaft and the pulley before it popped up loose. So I don't have anything really appropriate to grab this with. So randomly I had some barbecue tongs in my shop because I like to cook steaks in my shop sometime. And yeah, they come in handy. Don't overlook the barbecue tong in your machine shop. So here we go, just gently lifting it. It turns out the motor or the pulley wasn't even keyed to the shaft. There's a brass spacer bushing that had no keyway cut into it. So besides the set screw, it was just basically a friction fit. So, and on these small motors, you can get away with stuff like that a little more than you could like a 3-horse or a 5-horse, of course. So there we go, holding it up with the tongs. And yeah, successful removal. Okay, so we got the new motor on there. We got it mocked up. Always mock stuff up before you go waste your time tightening stuff. Pull alignment is looking very good. I think I'm just going to reuse this plate for now and put a light switch on it to work this motor until I get the foot switch. And obviously, the wiring comes in from the bottom or inside, but the plate's on the bottom. This will be a million times easier to wire on the bench, so that is what we will do. So let me get it over there and I'll bring you back. Okay, now looking at the electrical, I don't know how much you guys can see in there. These two little metal tabs right here. I've already loosened them. Let me zoom in. You swap these around. Now, you don't see this a lot in newer motors, having to swap these metal tabs in here. But if you do, as you can see, one end, that someone's been in there monkeying with it, has a slot in it to go over a post. The other end is captured. So you don't have to take the screws all the way out. And I would always highly recommend, whenever you do have to take screws out, lay the motor on its side, with the electrical stuff down, and then even the front end pitched up a bit, so you don't drop a screw down into the windings and stuff like that. Because sometimes it can be a real headache to get those things back out of there. So let me get this wiring swapped around, and we'll get this mounted on the drill press, and we'll see about a switch. Okay, got it all wired up. And let's see if the motor's any good. Yay! That little vibration you hear is none of this stuff's really tightened up yet. Let's see. Motor spinning very smooth. You hear the centrifugal switch cut out. So I just need to get a belt for this guy and the foot switch, and it'll be ready to go. Now, this is just going to get like a single flute deburring tool in it, and that's all this machine's going to do. I like the wide bases these older craftsman drill presses have. I'll just bring plates over to it, you know, rest the plate down, hit the foot switch, and just come down and countersink holes and deburr them. We got a bunch of plate jobs coming up. This will be handy for that. Plus, and then, I could also use it as a normal drill press, but I have many drill presses. So this is just something to make me a little more efficient. When you're a one-man show, every little thing you do that just takes that 5% off a job really adds up. So yeah, got this thing up and running. Very cool. I'm not going to clean it up too much because it's a shop tool. Yeah, this is Adam, Small Town Machine Shop. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.